We are starting part two of week 11, writing for social mass media. Okay, we all live in a very extremely busy world. The distractions that we have are something that was never experienced by even just a generation ago. Our parents and for some, our grandparents never experienced having to deal with, say, two cell phones, one for personal use, one for business use. Constant uh, nags for your time or people wanting help with projects with tight deadlines. You often have to task switch at the drop of a hat. For example, imagine that you are waiting on an email coming through. If finally get the email that you need from your client with full of data that you need to work on a project. The email is really long. You just start to read it. You're about 30 seconds into that email and your phone goes. You automatically pick up your phone. You deal with the client that's on the phone. Then one of your colleagues comes in, needs to talk to you about something. Then you're interrupted by your boss who reminds you that you have a meeting you have to go to. So you go to that meeting with your boss. You come back, there's another colleague needs help to hit a deadline, etc., etc. And from the time that you've left your seat to the time you get back, it's maybe only been about 30 minutes, but in that time, you've got 40 new emails. If you're lucky, you remember about that email. And unfortunately, if you are like most people, there is a really good chance that that email gets lost in the inbox with all the other emails you received. Especially if your person is a busy person, they are run the risk of becoming what we call a reluctant reader. Reluctant readers are someone who either they don't like to read to begin with, or they do like to read, but it has to be in a specific format. If they're a busy person, if you are giving them something that's not on a format that's pleasing to them, they're going to become that reluctant reader, especially if it's something that they have to read. Kind of like college students in textbooks or assigned reading every week, right? Because it's given to you, you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. I get it. I've been there, done that. In fact, I'm still there. Doctoral program, they have a lot of articles you have to read every single day. And sometimes I do. I hate it. So that's what we call a reluctant reader. We are going to go over some strategies that can help you minimize the reluctant reader and the way that they might try and put off your reading, off your writing. Okay, I want you to think about your junk drawer in your house. We all have one, right? It's the one where you keep the elastic bands, maybe your measuring tape. You've got those menus from your favorite restaurants. You might have a letter from a friend that you just haven't responded to yet. It all gets stuck in this junk drawer. Tons of stuff is in that drawer if you know where to find it, right? It's kind of like that billboard for Smith and Edwards. If you're driving up to Brigham City, their big billboard says, "We have what you need if you can find it." That's like your junk drawer. Your writing's the same way. You can have so much information in your writing, but if it's not written in the correct format, that information is hard to find. You have to be able to section it and put it into that drawer on the right-hand side, that perfect drawer that I have in my house. No, I'm just kidding. It's a stock photo. I wish my junk drawer looked like that. My junk drawer is even worse than the one on the left. I can't even show you. It's that bad. But let's try and think about formatting and using some strategies to make our writing more effective. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to look at 6 strategies that's going to help you improve. So the strategies are: number 1, bluff. Organizational structures, number 2. Then we'll look at chunking texts. Number 4, clear and specific headings. 5 is making sure the readability is good for your reader. And finally, finding ways to make that data digestible for your reader, especially if it's big numbers that they might have a hard time understanding. So let's take a look at these strategies. The first one is bluff, which is basically bottom line up front. This is going to be different from any academic writing that you've done up until this point. If you think about it, you have been trained in your opening paragraph, you put your hypothesis, right? Or your thesis statement. Your next paragraph's bringing your evidence to prove your thesis or your hypothesis. and then your concluded paragraph tells the bottom line. In communication, we are going to flip that up and put that bottom line up front. Let's look at some examples of that, okay? This first one here, there's an executive problem statement. Due to recent acquisitions, new product offerings, and existence due diligence burdens from banking partners, ACME company must hire an additional resource to help support the security and compliance program. The resource will help support new requirements from banking partner requirements, example, maintain current revenues. Without proper resources, ACME's ability to maintain security certifications and respond to customer audit requests are at a significant risk. A lot of information in there, and a lot of important information in there. How about if we were to rewrite that and put the bottom line up front? What we've done in the second part of the slide, and I apologize because for some reason, because I'm recording these slides, it will not allow any of the animation, because this normally would have zoomed in afterwards. So my slides are very static, unfortunately, and I don't know how to fix that. And I'm not going to try and fix the coding because we all know what happened in week 10. So the bottom line up front, we're going to ask leadership for approval to hire a security analysis within the next 30 days. Short and sweet, direct and to the point, right? And then we've also given the expected benefits, 4 to 10 times return on investment. Pretty powerful, right? Enable sales and banking partner relationship management, shorten the sales cycle, and reduce company risk. All really good reasons on why we should hire this person. So if we were to rewrite that top part as the bottom part, it's more likely to get the attention of our leadership. That's putting the bottom line up front. Let's look at another way. Okay, this is taken from an actual audit report. The boost to the economy from broad adoption of open data ecosystems could be as high as 1.5% of GDP in 2030 in the European Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and as much as 4 to 5% in India. Pretty big stats, pretty bold information, and very exciting information, especially if you are part of that climate program. So there's your BLUF statement, and right after that is the supporting documentation. So you've got what we want to tell you, and then you have the supporting information. So if you're one of these busy legislators or politicians that don't have a lot of time right now, you could simply read through the bolded parts and still get the main information that you need before you go into this conference. And then when you have time later on, you can go back and reread the whole report. And that's basically what writing for mass social media is all about. Okay, let's take a look at this email. Here we've used a BLUF to highlight the key point with supporting detail afterwards. You're telling Mary what we need. The BLUF is restrictive contract with supplier 1 may prevent us from an on-time launch of Project X, so it needs to be changed. Pretty important information for Mary, right? Right off the bat, she knows exactly what she needs to do to make sure that they do not miss an on-time launch of Project X. And then right under that is all the supporting information that she needs on why she has to take the action that she has to do. Does that kind of give you an idea? Okay, let's look at some data now. Here we have BLUF points bolded out. I've also numbered them to make them a little easier for you to see. So number 1, residents have a positive perception of the city. Good information to know, especially if you're the mayor and you're trying to get reelected. You're going to want your constituents to know that residents have a positive perception of the city. And then there's your data to back it up. 85% rated the city as excellent. 74% are satisfied with the overall quality of life. That's really good stats to know. And then it moves on to the second part. City is moving in the right direction. Again, something that your constituents are going to want to know, especially if you are trying to make them vote for you and giving you a second term in that position. So that's just going to give you an idea that there's some other ones there. If you're still struggling with that concept, let me put it a different way for you. Most people are familiar with this, right? Floor plan of a house tells you what you need to know. You've got a family, dining room, kitchen, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Does your postman care about that? No, he doesn't. When your postman comes to deliver your mail, all he cares about is that somewhere on your property is your house number, so he knows that he's putting your mail in the correct house. And so that's basically the bluff statement is your house number. And all the other things like your 2-car garage, your three bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, etc. All that is your supporting information for what makes up your house. But your bluff statement is just simply your house number. I'm hoping that helps clarify that for you. So now what we're going to do, I want you to try it out yourself. Does your first statement give the bluff? And the bluff in our writing prompt is basically the 3 attributes that someone needs to be successful in your job. If it does, congratulations. I want you to go ahead and write that. Just rewrite it in this assignment and hit submit. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Go ahead and rewrite your sentence so that it does include the bluff, and then put your revised paragraph in below. And that will be your second assignment. And then I will see you in the next part. Thank you.